Right guys, today we're going to be discussing body fat percentages. It's on the tip of everybody's tongue. How much in terms of body fat is my body, my physique? Now you can, if you want to go down the route of skin calipers, you can go down the other route of underwater weighing. If you've got a facility nearby and you're prepared to, or you've got the connections to be able to go in there and do that, that's the most accurate. But a lot of people buy these BMI sort of impedance metallic things, which sometimes they come on the end of weighing scales or the handheld devices. Now what you've got to realise with that is they don't really work for athletes who are sub 8%, 7%. The accuracy is right out the window. So how do you tell what body fat percentage you're at? Well, this is what I do, and this is what you might want to do. Unfortunately, if you look at yourself objectively, which is quite difficult to do, you stand in front of a mirror, look top to bottom, turn yourself side on, have a look at your gluteus, your backs, your legs, your hamstrings, your calves. Every body part needs to be taken into consideration. Now, if you're a fortunate person, you could be 12% body fat, for example, but hold that 12% evenly from top to toe. Therefore, you'll have a small, thin layer of body fat covering the whole body, which will give you a lean appearance overall, and you'll look more proportionate, and as if you're actually closer to the mark. I've seen in my time other people who possibly their upper bodies are holding, and especially their arms, they get quite lean, and shoulders and the clavicles, you can see the bones of the collarbone coming through. They tend to think, oh, I'm really lean, I'm going to lose too much weight. But their lower bodies tend to hold a disproportionate amount of body fat. And again, that can vary due to sort of a genetic thing. It can be due to what race you are, the cultures you were born into. But one thing is true, and one thing I've learned over the years is that fat cells in your body are produced at an exponential rate, that's a large rate, when you're in childhood. And therefore, if you've excessively eaten as a child, through no fault of your own maybe, and you've put a lot of excess adipose tissue on, waistline maybe, or it could be the lower back region, your glutes, your backside, or your legs even, some people even the lower calves, which gives rise to the term cankles, where the calves and the ankles just form one linear, top to bottom that is, shape. So there's none of this tapered look, it's a top to bottom linear shape which gives you a big thick set leg look. Now a lot of people say it's because of my heavy bones. Now what you've got to do is decide when you were younger, for example, if you would have multiplied those fat cells, which is the time that you typically do it. We've all got a predetermined number of fat cells. For example, my abdomen, stomach might have 50,000 fat cells. Now when I diet down, those 50,000 fat cells don't disappear. What they do is they lose the fat that's inside them, and they, like a balloon, deflate. And they deflate to such an extent that just the skin is showing. So the subcutaneous body fat appears as if it's all melted away, but realistically all of your body fat cells are still there. You know, the ones that you multiplied as a kid. Now if you were a chubby kid, it doesn't mean you've got to be a chubby adult. What you can do is keep dieting down, and don't fear the fact that if a certain body part, i.e. your shoulders or your arms, are getting leaner and leaner, yet you know to hold in excess on your backside, your glutes, or your hamstrings, or your hips if you're a woman, your waistline, your low back. What you've got to do is say, I need to keep manipulating my diet, keep training hard, keep the lean body mass up by keeping a moderate amount of protein. 1 gram per pound will suffice, body weight. And provided you're doing all these things and you're in a calorie deficit for your demands for that particular day, and you continue this for at least 6 days a week, on the 7th you can have your cheat meal, body won't do is keep taking body fat away from portions of your body that haven't got those massive amounts of adipose cells. The adipose cells that might be in your backside may be the last ones to come off. Now for me personally, when I do a pre-comp diet, I'm quite blessed that I've evenly got fat all over. Therefore, if I'm 15% body fat, I'll appear proportionate and lean, and not one body part will go boom and stick out at you and start rolling around. So as I come down, it just comes off evenly all over, so there's none of this sort of upsizing, downsizing issue. Now you get to a point, for me personally, it's the glutes, a little bit on the lower back, and a little bit on the upper hamstrings. That will be the last portion to come off. Now, you shouldn't fear it. You should say, well, my upper body now, at the moment, 6 weeks out from maybe competing, could be 5% body fat, 6%. In your subconscious, you shouldn't say, I'm therefore 5 or 6%. You need to get a third eye, maybe somebody else who knows what they're talking about, to take a look at you from head to toe, back to front, to say, yes, your upper body is there or thereabouts at the moment, but your lower body is bumping your body fat figure up. Maybe it could be 12 or 13% the lower body. So your combined body fat level could be 8 or 9%, even though you're holding a very lean upper body. You shouldn't be mistaken to think you cannot diet off that last portion. So you will lose that fat from the fat cells, and eventually the skin will tighten up and you reveal a nice lean physique. Again, on the flip reverse side, and this happens to everybody post-competition or post coming off a particular regime or diet, is that the fat cells that came off the last, so in the last 2 weeks, maybe for me it would be the glutes before they start striating, or the lower back where you get that Christmas tree effect, the last bit that comes off within the first 2 weeks is eating normal again. That's the first portion of the body, the fat cells, that will start filling back out. So you've got to find the balance for you. So there is no particular body fat percent which is ideal for anybody, because 15% for one person on average might mean you've got a 25% body fat lower body and a 10% upper body, which is disproportionate, so you'll need to bring that down. Somebody else at 15% might be holding it evenly top to bottom, and therefore they can get away with it. Other people who are holding exceptionally low body fats levels, sub 10%, what would happen with them is they will naturally assume they're lean all over and they've dropped all their subcutaneous fat. But you always need that third eye. If you can get a third person to come in, somebody who's not linked with you, who's got no intrinsic motivation to be able to tell you the things you want to hear rather than the things you need to hear in order to keep progressing and keep moving forwards, that third eye, that independent eye, will be sometimes honest, not brutally honest, but honest with you and say, you need to be able to drop an extra 4 or 5 pounds. So again, what body fat am I? Who knows, who cares? At the moment I could be 15%, I could be 12. All I know is that in order to make progress, you need to have a third set of eyes, honest eyes.